Hello and welcome back to April May Codes. I'm your host, April May, and today I'm going to be working on adding the load menu to my game. This should be a quick little video just going over how to add a new state and then get back to the previous state. So let's jump right into it. To start, I'm going to go ahead and copy over my assets. So I'll make a new directory in assets called save_load, and I'll go ahead and paste my images in there. And these are 5 images. I'll go ahead and show you what they look like. I've got a back image, the choose save slot, save 1, save 3, and save 2. I just made these in tiled and exported them as images using the Cozy Farm asset pack that I got from itch.io. I'll link that in the description. I think once I work on the actual saving and loading code, I'll draw text on each button saying the player name and the year and the day, like in Stardew Valley. But for now, it's just the buttons for each. So now that I've got those assets in the folder, I can start on creating a state. This is going to go in the states directory. We'll create a new file, and we'll call it load menu. If you watched my last video, this is going to look a lot like the title menu. It's basically the same thing, but with different buttons. So we're going to import a few things. We need to import Pygame. From game, import config. From game.states.menu, import menu. And finally, from game.states.state, import state. Now we can create our class. So we'll do a class load menu. And this is going to inherit from state and from menu. Init is going to take self, game manager, and name, just like the last state we made. We're going to do state.init, self, game manager, and name, and menu.init, self, and game manager. All right. Now I'm going to import my images. I'm just going to copy this code over and I'll go over what it is. So self.chooseImage, we're going to do pygame.transform.scale because that image is a bit smaller than I want it to be. So we're going to scale it up to 298 and 196. The save images are the right size, so we just need to do pygame.image.load and then the path. All right, now we need our rex and our x and y coordinates. So I'm going to copy those in. This was a lot of guess and check to figure out exactly where I needed them to be. For the choose X, we do mid width to put it in the middle of the screen horizontally, and then mid height minus 150 so that it moves up a bit because it starts from the top and increases as it goes down. So we subtract from it to move the image up. Then the choose rect, we're going to put the center at the choose X and choose Y. I did the same thing for the save 1 and the save 2 and save 3 X and Y's, and then the recs are in the center. Oh, this needs to be config.screenWidth and config.screenHeight. All right. Back image, we resized that a bit, made it a bit bigger. And then self.backrect is going to be a bit different. For the back X and the back Y, I did the screen width and the screen height. So the total width would put us at the right edge of the screen, and the total height is going to put us at the bottom corner of the screen. So that's just the bottom corner here. But if I center it right here, my image won't show. So instead, we'll do self.backImage.getRect, and we'll put the bottom right equal to self dot, I can't type, back x, self dot back y. That way the bottom right of the rect is in that bottom corner. So we'll still see our full image. It won't be off or anything. All right, that looks good. Why do we got a line here? Does this need to be, yep, in parentheses. There we go. Okay. Our cursor rect.center is going to be on save 1x and save 1y. Self dot save 1x, self dot save 1y. And then our menu options, I'll just copy over. This was, again, guess and checking, so don't be afraid to just blitz something on the screen and get it wrong, because you can always go back and tweak it a little bit to get it to look exactly how you want it to. So we do, if you notice, if you watched my last video, I only did an exposition in this menu options dictionary because we were just moving the cursor horizontally. We weren't moving it up and down. But for this menu, the back image is not in line with the save 1, 2, and 3 images. It's below it, below them. So I went ahead and put the X and the Y in there so that we can move the cursor to all 4 positions when we need to. Self.index is 0 because we're starting with the save 1 slot. And we don't need the choose image in here in this dictionary because that's not one of the cursor options. That's just like a little title for the menu. All right, now I'll make our render function. It's going to take self and surface. And then we'll do surface.blit. In the last video, I did self.gamemanager.screen.blit, which works, but we put surface in the render function, so we can just use the surface that we pass in. But actually, I don't need to do surface.blit first. I need to do surface.fill, and then config.pink. So we'll fill our screen with that pink color, and then surface.blit, our self.choose image, and self.choose rect. And that doesn't need to be made into a button because we don't need to check for the mouse clicks on it. So we can just screen.blit it. We don't need to put it in a variable. Then we'll create our buttons. Self.save1 button equals nope, I'm doing it again. Surface.blit, self.save1 image, self.save1 rect. We'll copy that for save 2 and save 3. So that's save 2 image and save 2 button. And then we want save 3 button and save 3 image. Oh, and the rect. Need to make sure they're in the right place. Save 3 rect and save 2 rect. All right, and then finally we need to put our back button in. So self.back button equals surface.blit, self.back image, and self.back rect. And then we'll draw the cursor. And that is from our menu. We're inheriting from menu, so we have the draw cursor function. All right, now I'll go ahead and make the move cursor, which just takes self and actions. If actions write self.index plus equals 1. If self.index is equal to what, 5? If it's 0, 1, 2, 3. If it's equal to 4, then we're going to reset it to 0. And then if actions left, self.index minus equals 1. If self.index is less than 0, self.index is equal to 3. And then we're going to just put our cursor rect at that index. So these are going to be a tuple. Self.menu options, self.index 1 for the x, self.menu options, self.index 2 for the y. Why do we got the yellow line? Oh. Cursor rect dot center is equal to that tuple. All right, and now we just need our update function. Def update takes self, delta time, and actions. We'll do self.move cursor, which will take actions. We'll set pause equal to pygame.mouse.getPause. And then we'll check for the keyboard input. So if actions enter, if self.index is equal to 1, we're going to pass because we're not doing anything with the loading yet. I'm going to get there eventually, assuming I can figure it out. It looked very confusing. But I'll work on it when I get to it. If, or we'll just do if. And that should be 0, shouldn't it? We'll start with 0. I guess it doesn't matter what order we put them in, but it looks better this way. If self.index is equal to 1, we'll pass. If self, this should be elif, shouldn't it? Because if we hit enter, yeah. If self.index is equal to 2, which is save 3, we'll pass. If self.index is equal, and that use 2 equal signs there, is equal to 3, then it's on the back button, so we'll do self.exit state. And that comes from our state that we inherited from. That's going to pop this state from the state stack, so it should put us back on the original screen, the title screen. Now we'll check for mouse input. So if actions left mouse, let me spell mouse correctly. If self.save1 button dot collide point pause, so if the mouse collides with the save one button, then we'll pass. If self.save2 button dot collide point pause, we'll pass. If self.save3 button dot collide point pause, we'll pass. And if self.back button dot collide point pause, we'll do self.exit state. And then we'll call self.gamemanager.reset keys. And that should be all we have to do for the load menu. Now it's built, but it doesn't show up on the screen yet. It's not in our title. So let's go ahead and go to title. And instead of passing or just printing load game, we're going to do self.gamemanager.state. No, we don't need to do it that way. We'll say new state. Actually, we'll do self.gamemanager.load menu is equal to load menu, and that needs game manager, and it needs a title, so we'll call it load menu, and we need to import that. And then self.gamemanager.loadMenu.enter state. And that will be for the keyboard input, and we just need to copy that for the mouse input as well. And that should work. That should be all we have to do. Let's see if it works. There we go. Here's our load menu. We can move the cursor icon. It looks a lot better than the title menu. It's centered over the images. It was much easier to do this because I cropped the images correctly and it was easier to position them and everything. So that saves a lot of time when you're making a game, is having your images be just the image instead of a extra transparent background. Now if we hit back, that should take us back. And if we hit enter on load game, and if we click on back, perfect. Everything's working well. So that's it for this video. It was just a quick little tutorial on adding a state and getting back to the previous state. And it kind of built off my last video, the state stack. So if you were confused about anything I did, I recommend watching that. It's a bit longer because I do a lot more than just the states. But also I'd recommend checking out CD Code's video on menus and on states. That tutorial helped me a lot. That's where I got most of this code from to do it this way with the state stack. So I'll link his video in the description, and thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.